Hello everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelorette Recap, a guy's review. As you know, it's been about 6 videos in a row and they're going to keep on coming. Folks are discussing the gaslighting, or was it, that happened between Katie Thurston and Grippo. Of course, they broke up Monday night on the Hometowns episode of The Bachelorette. Ruminating might have gotten the best of Greg, not knowing his place, put his love out there, didn't get the answers he wanted. Everybody's debating it. Everyone's got a very specific point of view, from saying Greg gaslighted her, it was triggering, it was emotionally manipulative, this and that, to people saying, well, he didn't get what he wanted, he was being honest, this, that, and the other. Do myself a favor, get on top of that like button, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's get into this. We've got Dr. Diane Strakowski, aka Back to Love Doc on Instagram. You got to give her a follow. She's killing it on Instagram. Look at that. She is analyzing the scenes kind of like in the live as they go on. It's fascinating. She's done a ton on her Instagram. You guys got to go watch her in the full. I'll give you guys a little preview of what she's talking about here as she's analyzing what's going down. Now, as we know, the great part about the show, even in tough situations like this, is a chance for us all to educate ourselves. Whether the terms, it can become semantics, whether you use the right terms or the wrong terms. The idea is that when you recognize toxic behavior, knowing what it is, setting boundaries for yourself moving forward, it's always good to educate ourselves. So this is always a good scenario for us to look at the show, apply it to our own dating lives, our friends, just being the best and most enlightened version of ourselves. All right, let's get into this. She made this story yesterday, so we got to watch this before it disappears here.
I'll set a sticker tag.
Oh, sorry. We got to go backwards. I thought we were all queued up here, but I guess it auto starts where I left off. So we're going to go back to Dr. Diane as she rewatched the scene everyone's talking about where he confessed his love for her and she said nothing in return. Here we go. Let's have a watch. Things still going well here, but she's not saying much. She can't say she loves him yet.
What else show you at this point, or what else to tell you at this point? I know I'm not gonna have any regrets.
What's wrong with Katie's face? Something's missing here.
Twice. It's a one deal thing for me.
Come on, Katie.
Now, what we must have, and I'd love to ask Diane this, Dr. Diane here, but I wonder if it's interesting when you're trying to read somebody, if what sort of variables the camera plays. I mean, they are on TV, so she might be thinking oh my gosh, this is the one, but she's being all right, she can see the camera guy moving in the background. There's so many variables as opposed to just watching two people react to each other in the flesh. You know what I mean?
I just love looking at you.
Greg's crushed.
Seriously? Ooh, ouch.
So this is the moment that people talked about where he spilled his guts and she said, I just love looking at you. And again, we're not criticizing Katie. I mean, she's beholden to some sort of contract to not let the guys know which is her guy. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just part of the show.
This is where it starts.
Yeah, I mean,
And then she goes, my analysis. When two anxiously attached people blindside each other and neither is able to recover. So she says, be careful of using pop psych terms incorrectly. And then she shares her analysis right here. Hold on, let's go back to this. So if we click on the post, let's try to open this in a new tab. Oh, I can't. So we go on the post here. She gives her actual analysis, which is really interesting. So let's have a read. Last night's breakup between Greg and Katie was one of the worst ever. It depicts a real-life nervous Nick and Nora couple who spirals out of control. Katie's been a great bachelorette. She's pushed the men to be vulnerable and open up. She's been vulnerable too. That is up until last night. According to attachment theory, it's under stress when you see someone's true insecurities. And both Greg and Katie are under stress. Okay, I love this already. She's using terms like attachment theory. This is way better than someone just being like, so-and-so's a manipulator. Maybe, but I'd love to know the actual definitions here. Katie is dealing with Michael leaving. Her self-esteem is rocked. Now she has to smile, entertain people's families, and plan more goodbyes. To gain control, she sets a boundary. I'm not going to tell anyone I love them until the end. As Caitlin Bristow says, it's lonely as the lead. Great, which it's also good to not tell until the end, because God forbid your mind changes, and on week 5 you said you told them you loved them, and then all of a sudden you're sitting, then you got someone else who's like, oh, you told that guy you loved him, now you tell me you're watering down the L word. Greg bares his soul and projects his neediness onto Katie. With unresolved grief from his father's death, he seeks reassurance from Katie that she can't give. Greg melts down, similar to the experiment called Still Face, when a baby can't get his mother to connect with him. Interesting. So he breaks down like Still Face. That's when a baby can't get his mother to connect with him. Katie, also shocked by Greg, can't soothe him. She's blindsided. How can something so rational like a boundary cause him to doubt her so much? People call Greg a narcissist and his behavior gaslighting, but it's important to use psychological terms correctly. Again, this is coming from a doctor. This isn't coming from some quack like me on the internet or just reading it. Greg's been anxious the entire season. This is also why people love him. He wears his heart on his sleeve and loves deeply. His mother confirms this. While Greg's behavior is concerning and he can definitely use therapy, this is not the same as a cold-hearted sociopath or a narcissist who lacks empathy. Greg is fragile and can't handle the change he perceives in Katie. He overthinks the worst scenario that he gets down on one knee, but Katie chooses Blake instead. So it's kind of like how I've been saying with ruminating. He's ruminated over the worst scenario, and that fear of the worst scenario is greater than whatever risk he would take to pursue this. So instead he's like, I gotta go, I'm out. And and he flies. Flies United. Wouldn't that be crazy if he had if Peter Weber was his pilot? He's like, what, the two of them, we're flying away from our problems. Not that Peter did that. I'm not saying Peter did that. I texted Peter I had a United flight home from Belize, and I did look in the cockpit to see if it was Peter. I was like, that'd be kind of cool to be like, what up? You know what I mean? I digress. Both Greg and Katie were emotionally dysregulated. Once they were calm, Greg could have taken Katie's hand and said, let's get out of here, screw the show. Katie could have pulled a Claire and ran off with Greg, but she didn't. Last night's episode was triggering. It doesn't mean that your ex wasn't a narcissist. This is an example of anxious, angry behaviors when two people don't get what they want. I'll say more in stories. Bachelor Windmill says, it's nice to hear a different perspective, especially from someone specialized in this field. Still not 100% sure how to feel, though. Well, yeah, you don't have to know how to feel. It's good. You start to empathize with one party because you become a fan of them, and then you have that confirmation bias where you start to defend their actions, and you go, well, we loved Greg. We're Grippo's girls, so Katie didn't give the thing Greg needed. It's like, well, maybe she didn't, but it's up to the self to realize that we shouldn't be needing external factors from others. And I understand it's a dating show, I understand that, but if she couldn't give him something, is that a real reason to walk off the show when in fact she tried to chase him down multiple times to ameliorate that situation? All right, let's go back to her stories here. Forgive me for jumping around, but real important stuff happening. So I believe we picked off, I want to go back to where we picked off here. Couple more backwards here. So that's where she ended. The anxious people talking, and of course they're anxious.
I'm sorry.
Eyes look up and away.
Came off that way,
Okay, round 2.
I think back to the first time you told me that, which was during our last one-on-one date, and it's something I realized I don't think I communicated to you, but I communicated to each and every one of your family members was, I haven't told anyone that I love them here. It's the one thing that, regardless of how I'm feeling, I want to save for the very end, because it just doesn't feel right to say that, knowing that there are other guys still here.
I understand there's other guys here. You didn't even acknowledge what I said to you.
That's right.
You completely mowed over it, and it scared the hell out of me. I was so confused. It pains me still to think that that's what you think that I was asking for. And
I didn't know. Even in you telling me this, I'm trying to reflect.
Give a
back,
little
there
more,
was a lot of
Katie.
emotions
Come
that
on.
night, and maybe I was just trying to do more listening.
She says she was trying to do some listening. That's productive. All right, so what do we have here? This is the still face experiment. It's a change that rocks the baby. Warning: it's tough to watch. That's so. So I love that. I love that. Back to Love Doc, aka Dr. Diane, is here giving like real examples for people to like check out. This is great. Good stuff.
Hello, lovelies. It's me. Oh my gosh. All I can say is wow. Wow. What an episode of The Bachelorette last night. And wow, I'm getting a lot of comments and DMs about what's going on. Instead of doing a long series of stories, because I can't even get it all in, I've decided a little impromptu in between my clients, I'm going to go live. So join me at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time
so we missed
live.
that.
I'll set a sticker tag.
Let's see if we can go. So she had the live. I believe that was yesterday. Men will really go on The Bachelorette instead of going to therapy. That's true. Very true. And then our last one here. So here's her. She said, I put my stories about Monday under highlights. My live from yesterday is up too. So you can go back to her Instagram if you want to check out her live. You know, I think we can all, even if we all think we know, like I know what narcissism is, I know what gaslight. It's always good to hear another person with their perspective, especially somebody that's got what appears to be a very credible amount of experience here. All right, so, and I wanted to play these for you because everyone was saying, Greg just wanted some confirmation. And, we have to realize that conversation they had wasn't in a vacuum, right? So here's from earlier on in the season, compiled on Reddit. Friendly reminder that Katie did say it at one point.
How are you feeling? Like, with us, like where we're at?
I am falling for you. And it's exciting and it's scary and...
Look, and I know, so then he ends up watching her on her hometowns with Blake and he gets in his head and all that. So obviously when it comes to like love languages, you don't just get to say, hey, honey, I told you I loved you last year. It has to be repeated and validated and all that. But again, I'm still on the side of the fact that, I still side with the fact that she's the lead of the show. There is a dynamic there where she's put into a position that he's not, and vice versa. But he has to respect that she has to just blindly go through it. And it's like, and again, I also hate to say, hey, this is what you signed up for, but like that's kind of how it works, is that if you're the one standing at the end, then it was meant to be. And if you're not, then it wasn't. And that's kind of where they are right now. So this is a funny Instagram page called Watch with Neebs. And he or she found some old clips of Katie, but this is a lot of fun.
Like one of my biggest fears is you wanting to leave.
No, I would never.
Promise?
Fuck you lying. Why you always lying?
Why are you always lying? So there it is. A nice palate cleanse for the end of this video here. Watch with Neebs with a nice little combo there for you guys. So thank you so much for all of the insightful information to Dr. Diane Strakowski. Love a good Polish doc. I think that's Polish, right? What's the old Polish joke? Every Polish last name ends in ski because they can't spell toboggan. Is that how it goes? Hey, come on. I don't want the Polish to hate me. We love you. All joking aside. She is at Back to Love Doc, and you can go find out more. She says, I help singles find love and understand your partner, and also recaps The Bachelor. Listen, a lot of people have asked in the past why I do Bachelor news and this and that. And it's like, look, the show's fine. I enjoy the show. It's fine. But what I really enjoy is this space that the show gives us all to have conversations about social issues, conversations about dating, relationships, love, communicating. And it's like, I'm a comic, like deep down, all I want is to get on stage and make people laugh and have a good time. I like to build people up and have good energy. With the YouTube channel, that can be a little different sometimes depending on what the topic is. And it's all about resetting the deck to a place where we can experience love, getting ourselves to the best place in our heart that we can be so that we are taking care of ourselves, we're pursuing our own interests, we're building up all the equity within so that when we find the right person, we can share that with them. With someone like Greg, clearly, again, still don't know enough about gaslighting, don't know enough about specific terms, not a doctor, not a mental health expert, not a sex relationship therapist at all, just a bloke with a YouTube channel. But with that said, there's a curiosity there. And I think if we all have a curiosity to learn how other people think, then regardless of some sort of heavy condition of a sociopath and narcissist, most people are doing the best with the information they have. So most people, you got to listen to what they're telling you. If they're telling you they're trying their best, like Katie told Greg, I'm trying my best. I'm trying to figure this all out. That wasn't enough for him. So regardless of whether he was gaslighting or whatever anxieties they had or spilling his heart out and she doesn't respond, if the person you're seeing is telling you one thing, you got to believe it. You got to believe it until you don't. And that speed bump was enough to derail their relationship, and that's where they stand. Anyway, folks, let me know what you guys think. There'll be more content coming. Live stream Thursdays, 4 p.m. And we are just days away from the season finale where we can wrap this whole thing up with a bow. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.